Ayinka Jesus Christ. Ayinka Jesus Christ. Ayinka Jesus Christ. You are very welcome to the second session of today, the afternoon session. This morning, we were occupied with a theme towards self-reliance and socio-economic development in the Cape Coast Archdiocese, a practical approach. And in talking about self-reliance, one thing that came up a lot of times in the discussions was land, the land of the church, or the lands of the church as her property. This afternoon, our theme is our mission for the care of the earth. Our mission for the care of the earth. And you can talk of the earth without land. So the two topics are also well interrelated and integrated. To do that then, have as usual, somebody to chair the session for us. The church has her resource persons. So we looked around and picked someone, a son of the church, who has worked for so long within the Archdiocese. He's the lay director of the Laity Council in the Archdiocese of Cape Coast, the former president on the national level. Currently, he is the president of the regional level, that is West Africa. Above all, he's a marshland. So I have the singular honor to invite Mr. Dr. Akon as the chair for this afternoon. And of course, he's a Joseph, so he understands what it means to work. Dr. Akun, please, your place is in the middle. Great. And the speaker to the theme we have chosen, definitely, since we are in Ghana and we have NCS, then we cannot avoid NCS, because there we also have the experts to handle different topics for us. So we went in for the country coordinator of Caritas at NCS, a lawyer by profession. And gender balance comes in here. Sister Regina Ignatia AFLAH. I will pronounce it Regina so that it means something else. Regina Ignatia AFLAH. Handmaid of the Divine Redeemer. Why not? Sister, please come over. And here is your place. Thank you very much, sister. You are welcome. So here we are with a chairman and a speaker. So, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Father. Your Grace, the Archbishop, Reverend Fathers, Sisters, brothers of the laity, good afternoon to everyone. I think I just want to say that I am pleased to be involved in what is going on here. And also today, this afternoon, to be sitting here while we talk about our common home, the earth. I'm very much concerned with the changes that are going on in the natural environment. We're talking about climate change. I live in a part of Cape Coast where it's very difficult for rain to drop. This morning, so many parts of Cape Coast experienced some kind of downpour, but not that part of Cape Coast. And the major rainy season didn't begin until June of this year. And some people started planting maize. And I was wondering whether they believe that this rain will persist to middle of August so that they could have some harvest. It rained for 4 weeks. And so all the maize that they grew are now stunted. They have tasseled, but very sure they cannot have any ears of corn. Indeed, the thing about the climate change is real. And the human factor in this climate change is also significant. And we have to do something about it. I'm sure that Sister will take us through all the things that are related to the care of our common home. The galamsey, the poisoning of our river bodies and so on, our water bodies. These are things that we Christians must be so much concerned and making noise about. But I think Sister will set us talking and agitating and organizing so that we can rescue this earth, our mother. Thank you very much. Sister, you can take us through it.
Good afternoon to all of you. Your Grace, Most Reverend Gabriel Charles Maboko, the Metropolitan Archbishop of Cape Coast, Archbishop Emeritus, dear Synod fathers and mothers, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I am highly privileged to represent Caritas Ghana at the second Synod and to present a paper on the topic, Our Mission to Care for the Earth. Caritas Ghana is grateful to the Archbishop and the Planning Committee for this invitation for us to share a few thoughts with you. Broadly speaking, what the Holy Father, Pope Francis, has said and written during his pontificate borders on the revival of missionary commitment. During the extraordinary year month in 2019, the Pontiff reminded all Christians of our vocation, that is, baptized and sent. The Church of Christ on mission in the world. He observed that our missionary mandate is rooted in baptism. This missionary mandate touches us personally. I am a mission always. You are a mission always. Every baptized man and woman is a mission. Each of us is a mission to the world. For each of us is the fruit of God's love. Each one of us has the mission to care for the earth by our baptism. This constitutes the background of my presentation this afternoon. It is undoubtedly that the earth, land, soil, and water resources are being exploited so much that their ability to be renewed and purified is outdone. You can testify to this since we are all Ghanaians. The Galamsey destruction of our land, our forests, and chemical pollutants all over in Ghana. In various ways, the ecosystem is being abused and exploited with its attendant problems of climate change, deforestation, greenhouse effects, loss of biodiversity, ozone depletion, and pollution. If we talk of pollution, we are looking at noise, we are looking at the air, soil, and water. These causes of ecological crisis are artificial. One may ask, why are they artificial? These are being fueled by incidents of greed, pride, unrestrained amassing of material wealth, and the indifferences to the vocation of being prudent in using natural resources. The earth's ability to support life is being drained excessively. One Eleanor A. Johnson notes that we are killing birth itself, wiping out the future of fellow creatures that took millions of years to evolve. We live in a time of great dying caused by human hands. We are faced with ecological crisis that need to be urgently addressed in the world, especially in Ghana, our homes, the communities in which we live. In the end, the damage caused to nature spread rapidly than the preventive measures that you and I put in place. This paper reminds all Christians of the biblical command and its theological principles. That is, human beings are not divinely appointed autocrats who possesses the ability and divine right to determine the fate of other creatures, but that the created order is a web of life, an integrated whole. We are thus urged to be passionate about the urgency of our mandate to care for the earth and serve it responsibly. The above is stressed in Pope Francis' Laudato Si and Fratelli Tutti. FT 17 has this to say: to care for the world we live in means to care for ourselves. Yet we need to think of ourselves more and more as a single family dwelling in a common home. In this shallow, short-sighted culture that we have created, bereft of a shared vision, it is foreseeable that once certain resources have been depleted, the scene will be set for new wars, albeit under the guise of noble claims. LS 57, that is Laudato Si 57, has this to tell us. The eco-crisis as spiritual crisis. We want to look at eco-crisis as spiritual crisis. In its Proposition 22, the Second Synod for Africa described the environmental crisis caused by human beings who, instead of caring for nature as a gift from God, exploit it, you and I apart, beyond what is sustainable and useful, for simply selfish and economic reasons. The theological question that must preoccupy us is how come those of us charged by God to take care of creation have tended to exploit it. We take a look at some causes of eco-crisis. There are many, but I'll look at few of them. 1, modern man and eco foundation. The present crisis has to be seen against the backdrop of the modern eclipse of God, from the human experience of the world and the transformation of the world into a human product. Many of us today live and make ourselves the measure of all things. Respect for creation is replaced by an arrogant wish to eliminate other things or use them for our security and the development of an artificial, ego-centered world. As the world is seen as human production, humanity loses the meaning of creation as a gift from God. The concern is now of domination and conquering the world instead of caring for it. 2, heaven-bound Christians. Some of us care less for creation, which may be due to the misinterpretation of Christian understanding of salvation. Salvation is exploited by many in the individualized form of going to heaven. The aspiration to go to heaven sometimes leads Christians to disregard the earth. We forget that heaven and earth are inseparably filled with God's glory, and the world is supposed to be a mirror of heaven. Lack of respect for our culture. Nature is seen as sacred, especially by the Akan. The Akan used to remain in harmony with nature through the concept of tattoos, totem, secret groves, and other rituals. That is, not going to sea on certain days, or on certain days, farmers are not supposed to farm. Why do the Akans do this? They do this so that the land will rest. They do this so that the sea will rest. That is the reason why some of the days they don't go to farm, and some of the days they don't go fishing. But what do we see in our world today, or in our homes and our communities today? The truth is that the conventional understanding of nature, the earth as sacred, is far eroding and can be a factor in the crisis of the ecosystem. Humans are stewards of the earth. That is the 3rd point. Humanity is created in God's image and likeness, a theme that puts forward clear royal undertones. It possesses a divine gem and is the prime of creation. Genesis 1:26-27. Humanity received as much greater blessing and commission to rule and exercise domination over all creatures and subdue the earth. Most biblical scholars opine that this dominion is to be understood as a tenancy exercised on behalf of God. Brigham Hill forcefully maintain that humans were created to act nobly in the place of the Creator. This leaves no room for lording over or mastering humans or any other living things. Unfortunately, the passage has all too often been distorted and used to justify the domination of both humans and nature. The sovereignty of God over us is characterized by mercy and compassion and love. Our dominion should mirror God's. Our dominion should be modeled on his sovereignty. When God exercises his dominion over us, he does not do so harshly, vindictively, or arbitrarily, but with a goal-driven purpose that raises out of love for us. Our care for nature should be marked by tenancy, compassion, and even sacrifice. Our stewardship is emphasized in the second account of creation, Genesis 2, 4b to 17. The Adam is not made in imago Dei, but in the imago terra, that is, in the image of the earth, by a great Hebrew play word. The identity of humanity is bound to the world. The Adam formed by or in the earth, with the earth. Humanity is born of earth and is a grounding. God, the gardener, plants a garden and places the man in it to cultivate and till it. The park is not just a place of pleasure, leisure, but something to till and watch over. The man has to grow or cultivate the garden and serve it as protector. Humanity has a vocation to serve. That man was transferred to the garden to guard it indicates that he was called to a state of service and has to prove himself in a realm that was not his possession. In the garden, humanity sees itself as working man and not exploiter of what it has been mandated to cultivate and guard. It owes the onus to contribute to its continual creative activity. Point number 4, concern for mission to care for creation. When treating the role of the laity, that is the constitution on the church in the modern world states, the faithful, therefore, must learn the deepest meaning and value of all creation. Lumen Gentium 26. The decree on the apostolate of the laity expresses the same position from the opposite perspective. Pastors must clearly state the principles concerning the purpose of creation and the use of temporal things. As stewards and trustees, we must work towards an equitable distribution of the land, sustained, guard, and salvage it for future generations, those yet to be born. The psalmist thank God for functioning us fearfully and wonderfully, in secret in the depths of the earth. The psalmists are full of delight and awe over the mystery of our intimacy with the earth, our intimacy with far and hill, snow and mist, mountains and all hills, sea monsters and all deeps. All this call for a relationship of mutuality with other creatures. We must emphasize and participate with delight in the company, the creatures, and bring about a communion of all creation sessions. The Bible shows nature's link with God, who created it, blessed it, and showed himself through it. God appears in fire, in the wind, and water. God uses nature to bring human beings closer to him and to punish them when they go astray. Everything in the world remains sacred, since it is linked with God and leads to him. Various texts in the psalms, that is Psalm 19, Psalm 98, 104, 148, shows that all things on earth are seen as God's handiwork, which brings honor to him and praises him by their very existence. The prophet Daniel, in a canticle, called on all the works of the Lord to bless the Lord. The incarnation of the Son of God signifies the taking up into unity with God. Everything that is flesh, the whole of humanity, the entire visible and material world. The incarnation then also has a universal significance, a cosmic dimension. In the teachings and parables of Jesus, it is clear that his language shows his ecological concern when giving his message of concern for the world. He referred to ordinary creatures such as birds, grass, lilies, sparrows, etc. In all of the 37 miracles in the synoptic Gospels, Jesus destroyed the domination of Satan over created realities and establishes the dominion of God, who is liberating. The nature miracles, that is Mark 4:35 to 41, call on us to trust in the absolute power of God during ecological crisis or disasters. The feeding miracle, Mark 6:30 to 44, tells us about the abundant resources of nature that provide us with food and drink. The healing miracle invites us to be God's stewards in restoring disfigured images of God in creation. The miracles of exorcism reveal that the cosmic ecology is on the agenda of God, who routes the forces of ecocide. The resuscitation miracles challenge us not to be silent spectators of the worldwide ecological holocaust taking place, but to be active agents in the creation of nature. The mission to care for creation is partly the focus of the encyclical Laudato Si of Pope Francis. The pontiff draws attention to the travels of our sister the earth, who cries out due to the harm you and I have inflicted on her by our irresponsible use and abuse of the goods with which God has endowed her. His contextual and theological question is, what kind of world do we want to leave to those who will come after us, to children who are now growing up? The current situation is serious. You and I can testify how we have destroyed the earth and our environment. Still, the Holy Father has hope and trusts that human beings can find a viable solution. I think that is why we are here to discuss how we can find solutions to care for the earth. He does make an appeal to every person living on this planet for an inclusive dialogue about how we are to shape the future of the planet. The document extends the pastoral relationship of the Church to the world of nature and invites the world of humans to enter into a harmonious relationship with it and attend to its reading. Its aim at infusing in our responsibility for our common home. We are called to be an instrument of God, our Father, so that our planet might be what he desired when he created it and correspond with his plan for peace, beauty, and fullness. There is an attempt in the document to move from hierarchical ordering of creatures to a more theological understanding where human beings and other creatures are seen as in a web of life. The ultimate purpose of other creatures. The encyclical observe, it is not to be found in us. Rather, all creatures are moving forward with us and through us towards a common point of arrival, which is God. The encyclical makes it clear that human beings are given the earth as a gift from our Creator. It is our responsibility to avoid contributing to a culture of greed, covetousness, individualism, or exploitation. Fratelli Tutti represents a new call for a profound conversion and a radical change in the way we live. Some important recent developments to care for the earth, which you may want to take note of. A, the 7 Laudato Si goals. Pope Francis proposed some 7 goals, which I will share with you for reflection. Pope Francis has launched 7 goals to guide our action. They are to redefine and rebuild our relationship with each other and our common home. 1, the response to the cry of the earth. The response to the cry of the earth. What does he have to tell us? This is a call to protect our common home for the well-being of all as we equitably address the climate crisis, biodiversity loss, and ecological sustainability. 2, the response to the cry of the poor. This is a call to promote eco-justice, aware that we are called to defend human life from conception to death and all forms of life on earth. 3, ecological economics. This acknowledges that the economy is a subsystem of human society, which itself is embedded within the biospheres, that is, our common home. 4, the adoption of sustainable lifestyle. This is grounded in the idea of sufficiency and promoting sobriety in the use of resources and energy. 5, ecological education. Is about rethinking and redesigning curricula and institutional reform in the spirit of integral ecology to foster environmental awareness and transformative action. 6, ecological spirituality. This covers a religious version of God's creation and encourages more significant contact with the natural world in a spirit of wonder, praise, joy, and gratitude. 7, community engagement and participatory action. This encourages the development of culture and policies that protect our common home and all who share it. So these are the 7 goals that Pope Francis has launched for us to be reflecting on, for us to implement. B, I mentioned that there are some important recent developments to care for the earth. The first one I spoke about is the Laudato Si goals by the Pope Francis. Now, B is Green Ghana project. Recently, the government launched a project which you and I are aware called Green Ghana project. That is, the government of Ghana in April 2021 announced the Green Ghana project to plant 5 million trees in 2021. This is to protect the environment. The church is not left out. C, the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference also came out with a statement which was even published in the Standard. Those of you who read the Standard, you'll find the statement of the Bishops' Conference in the paper. What does it say? The Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference at the May 2021 plenary also launched a 1 million trees planting plan to mark the special anniversary of Laudato Si and support the government Green Ghana project. To this effect, the various archdioceses and dioceses have since taken up the challenge to plant a variety of trees supporting the Green Ghana project. The conference welcomes wholeheartedly the 7-year Laudato Si action platform launched by Pope Francis to galvanize action by the Church and all people of goodwill to address the looming environmental and social calamities. So this is what our bishops are saying. The bishops alone cannot go out there planting trees. You and I are supposed to take up this and plant trees so that we can protect our environment. The statement extends a fraternal invitation to all faith groups in Ghana to agree to a framework of working together to address national environmental concerns and other related issues for transforming our society and our common home. D, Caritas Ghana's Care for Our Common Home initiative. I work with Caritas Ghana, so this is what we are doing from our office at NCS. Caritas Ghana's Care for Our Common Home program. So since 2017, Caritas Ghana has opened up to the inspiration of Laudato Si in its strategic planning and program development. Hence, the medium-term program Critical Pathway, 2017 to 2021, was primarily influenced by Laudato Si. Concrete programs in this area include electronic waste management, plastic processing, sustainable energy. What we do with the electronic waste is, in Accra we have some centers that we go around collecting all electronic waste so that they can be reused. So we are doing that now. And as part of protecting the environment, we also have a plant in Tamale, a processing plant, where we collect like the plastic bottles that we drink water from. We collect all those bottles for reprocessing. This is a way, a small way that we have started to protect the environment. So you can also do same in your communities. Some recommendations. Our mission and commitment to God must find ways and means to counter the eco-crisis effectively. The following are some concrete ways for the church to realize its mission to care for the earth today. 1, taking up environmental friendly activities, supporting programs that protect wildlife and work to establish nature reserves, parks, sanctuaries, etc., and to encourage the faithful to join eco organizations like Eco Club, Zoo Club, and anything that will help us to protect our environment. We are to join those groups. 2, celebrating nature-keeping Eucharist, which I know you have done or you are still doing in the Archdiocese. That is, celebrating is attached to nature-keeping, such as tree planting exercise. After Mass, the whole assembly is sent forth to a deforested area to plant trees. 3, celebration of international ecological days, such as World Water Day. This World Water Day is in March 22nd. So in March, it is an international day that the whole of humanity celebrates World Water Day. World Environmental Day is in June. 5th June is the World Environmental Day. So we are encouraged to join some of this celebration. Not only to join them, but with a seminar on relevant issues to form, transform, and synthesize the faithful in ecological issues. The Archdiocese School established an annual Eco Week to be championed by parishes and schools with relevant activities to mark these celebrations. 5, pastors and ministers should preach eco-centered thematic homilies and sermon. We are to add or fuse eco-thematic homilies into our homilies so that the faithful will get to know more about the harm that we are causing to the earth. 5, periodic celebration of a penitential service emphasizing sin against the ecosystem. This could be done with or without individual confession. Setting time aside for such celebrations signals the faithful that their degradation of the environment is sinful and must end. Some of us think that destroying the environment is not sinful, but it's sinful. So we can organize seminars, we can organize teachings, we can ask our societies, the societies that we have in the church, to take up this. 6, catechetical formation. Catechetical materials for both children and adults, preparing for the reception of the various sacraments, ought to instill in them the vision of the gospel in its creational context. 7, a reorientation in church conservation and recycling. For the church to be a genuine minister of ecological sanctification, she must acknowledge that, alternative to a disposal society, reuses and recycles. She promotes wise stewardship as she prudently recycles materials used in parishes. 8, there is a need for attitudinal and structural changes in all spheres of life. Concern must be shown for renunciation of greed and for being satisfied with the minimum condition for life. We need to actively seek ways of living more lightly by either finding more environmental friendly alternatives or living a simpler life and doing without what is unnecessary. 9, making our church buildings and surroundings as environmentally friendly as possible by using the space to demonstrate the beauty of creation and enhance biodiversity. 11, unveiling of Operation Keep Your Environment Clean. The church in the Archdiocese of Cape Coast can launch the Operation Keep Your Environment Clean through the Justice and Peace Commission or other relevant organization in the church. The Justice and Peace Commission can be empowered to embark on an aggressive campaign against discriminate dumping of refuse in the gutters and Galamsey. Conclusion. The church in the Archdiocese of Cape Coast or in Ghana can meet the ecological challenges through at least 2 means. 1, an awareness of the love of God for the whole of nature in our spirituality, our way of life, liturgical celebrations, prayer, our attitude to nature, birds, and so forth. 2, concern for the cosmic finding expression in societal structures could indicate each other's duty towards a just universe. If God is present everywhere, then we should read Matthew 25 in a new light. Jesus says, "Just as you did to one of the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me." The other creatures too should be considered family members, and whatever we do to assert their rights, care for them lovingly, and look after them tenderly will amount to worshiping God who is present in them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. Our mission for the care of the earth. Dr. Chair, I would like to crave your indulgence to ask for questions. As usual, we will take 3 questions to start with, and if there are more, we'll see how much time we have and continue. So we'll take the first 3 questions or contributions. The first 3 questions or contributions. Yes. Please come forward if you have a question.
Thank you. Maybe this goes to the speaker or to Your Grace. At the 2018 World Youth Day celebration, it was mentioned about this waste management, especially with the plastic waste, as a project. But after that, I have not heard about it again. I don't know how far it has gone till I'm just hearing about the progress. Is it in Tamale or Tema that sister mentioned? Tamale. But within the diocese also, we have not done anything. It was even encouraged that the youth will go into that to generate income. And nothing has been done. We were even giving some bags, big bags in the parishes to aggregate the sachet bags. If we had collected them and nobody had come, I don't know how we're going to dispose them of. So I would like to know how it has gone within the diocese and the way forward. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. Well, the Archbishop is not supposed to answer questions like this, but she threw it at you. But the Archbishop cannot answer it. Does sister know anything about it?
I don't think we are here to ask questions to me
Yeah.
or to sister.
Yeah.
We are here to say, what are we doing about it in our parishes? You understand? So I know what she is saying. It means it has been talked about and something was said. Do we always have to wait for it to come from above? The plastic bags are in our gutters, in our parishes. We throw them down. Pardon my using myself as an example. On the way to my house, every time that I go pray in the rosary, I collect empty plastic bags and plastic bottles. Sometimes I'm surprised how people walking just by the side can throw that in there. I am now contemplating what to do. Because I was thinking of bringing a dustbin there. Can you believe somebody has stolen? I think I shouldn't continue.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will move on to the next question.
Mine is not a question. but maybe it may be helpful here in relation to the question that my sister asked. The Sisters of the Holy Cross were embarking on recycling projects. I know the was published in 2015. And so in responding to need, which is a section in our mission, what we do, and we even visit the parishes, and we encourage them to gather the plastics. And then we send them to the recycling centers in Accra. Sometimes when they bring, those who want to sell them, we give them something just to keep the environment clean. So I will encourage as many communities and parishes. We have sent dustbins and other big sacks where they keep these, especially the sachet ones. The plastics, when you go to some companies, fine, it's not for money, but then just to help save Mother Earth. So for the plastic bottles, we are yet to find other some places, because some are even using them for constructions, but to get the right people. So I will encourage the parishes, whether you are far or near. Sometimes we even go to Takoradi, send the, we have trucks, so we send them and we gather them together. We have employed some young men who would then arrange them and then send them to Accra. So in your parishes, if you think you can do that, gather the plastics and then keep them at a safe place. Call on us. Some of you, I can give you the contact of the sister who is in charge of this project, so that vehicles can come over, pick them, and then we arrange them and then send them to Accra. And then I want to encourage many communities. I know we have justice and peace movements from the religious and then even with the lay faithful. Let us look at practical ways that we can save Mother Earth. When we go to the parishes and we talk to them, we also encourage that they recycle or reuse some of the plastics. You've gone to the market, you've been given a poly bag. Can you wash the bag and take it back to the market? Or you go with your own basket or material bag instead of picking the plastic and then disposing them anyhow. So these are some of the practical areas that I think we can look at. And sister, if you can give us more of these practical ideas, I think it will be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Any other question or contribution? Please, if you have, come forward so I know you are here.
Excuse me. When planning for this synod, we thought about this instead of buying files, you know, and sometimes people may dispose of them anyhow. We decided to, you know, sew these bags for you.
I think Father has just spoken about what I'm about to talk about, that we should look for an alternative to the use of the plastic, the sachets that we are using currently. That is at the national level, because at the archdiocese level, we have a little control over that. So whatever we say here, if it is possible, we should send it to the national level, where they have the political will to implement some of these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other question? Since nobody has come forward, I presume there's no more questions. Thank you.
Permit me to say that either because of the very good lunch you had, the Bankun was beginning to create an ecological trouble in the stomach of many. So I realized that many people, their heads were going ecologically, untenable. Shall we rise? Shall we rise? Shall we rise? And let's do what we used to do when we were children. Let's do what we used to do when we were children. Che che kule, che kofisa, kofisa langa, laka shilanga, kum adende, che kule, che kofisa, kofisa langa, laka shilanga, kum adende. Gyrate your waist, kule che kofisa. Ibiya Steve Dodo. Laka shilanga, kum adende. O che kule che kofisa. Manko fum dodo. Please sit, please sit, please sit. My brothers and my sisters, our Holy Father, the Pope, in that document, Laudato Si, uses the title of a song of St. Francis. Is there a Franciscan here? Father Della, where are you? He has disappeared small. Is there? So, Father, you would have to take it up with your people. Coming back, Laudato Si means praise God. May God be praised for nature. And it was St. Francis who sang this song, praising God for Mother Earth, for Brother Tree, for the wind, for the leaves, for animals, and so on and so forth. So our Holy Father, the Pope, when he became Pope, started calling our attention to the fact that if we don't have a certain respect to the earth, we could be heading towards a disaster. I want to wake you up to something. She mentioned it. I think some of us have overlooked it. And that is, in our own Ghanaian cultures and traditions, there are days you don't go to farm. There are days you don't go to fish. There are days you didn't go for hunting and the rest. And you know, unfortunately, we were made to know that these were pagan things. Those of you, we are too young, that is it. But most of those who are slightly older will remember that even a stream passing through the village was considered a deity or a divinity. Bosom. And I don't want to believe our people did not know that God is there and this is a creation of God. But they had a way of making sure that we did not destroy these things. So I hope and pray that some of the answers you are going to bring me after you have done all the ecological dosing and the rest will be to ask yourselves in and around our environment how to involve the young people in and around the parish to make sure we create an ecologically friendly environment. Pardon my saying so, but that is another thing he talks about is ecological education, which I was just sitting and asking myself, Emeritus, I don't know whether you may have experienced it. When we were going to school, in the villages, our village mothers and fathers were not weeding the ground and taking away the grass. But when we went to school, they showed us in school in those days to keep the compound clean because of fear of, scorpions and tarantulas and the rest. We were made to, clean all the grass. So today when you go to the villages that are doing that, the whole village is being eroded by the wind and the rest. And now we have come back to realizing that the grass had a purpose, keeping the earth from becoming pulverized and the rest. So I'm only saying that we need a certain change of attitude, especially educational attitude. And many of you are teachers. Most of you are parents. Most of us are, we are going to have to ask ourselves, when they talk about the earth, our common home, I don't think we are talking about some earth somewhere. We are talking about where we live, at home, the parish in which we are, what we are going to do. So I would like us to look at it from that point of view. The Pope's paper is very mystical. The word is mystical. As if a return to looking at the earth in a completely different manner. Yes, we have to look at the earth in a completely different manner. When we talk about Galamsey, we only think about the water that is being destroyed. But the fear is that maybe very soon we shall have to start importing water to drink. So what are we going to do for tomorrow? Because in your case and my case, if you remember very well, in our culture, we were made to know that the village did not belong to you and me alone. Belonged to our ancestors who had come and gone, and belonged to our children who are going to come. Generational, stewardship. So these are things that I want you to begin to look at them from the point of view of baptized and sent. I'm sure many of us began to consider, what is baptized and sent about the care of the earth and everything. But if you read the document very well, you find out there's a lot of homework that we have to do. One is change of our own mentality. So I thought I'll bring it in because otherwise my fear is that we might think the topic may not sound very relevant to the Synod, but it is highly relevant to the Synod. Because we are going to go back to ask for projects, to use the land we have, to use the materials we have, and I'm afraid if we don't take care, we would rather be helping create desertification if we don't manage the land, the property well. I hope you understand that. So I want you to, when you are answering the questions, think about where you are from. Don't think about Ghana, think about your village. Trifu Himai, we were being told, Trifu Praso, we were being told, Asin Manso, Asin Praso, we were being told, Kaswa and the rest. The various parishes we are in. Sister was just telling you and me, they've started it in their school, and they have a program for the children in the school to learn to know why they shouldn't just throw plastic around the place. What are we doing? How are we going to do it? How is that part and parcel of baptized and sent? I hope you understand that. This is why I decided to take it, because there was too much ecological agreement.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Grace. Now we will have the time for the group discussions, and then we'll come back for the plenum. Doc and Sister are not yet released, so I will not thank you yet. It's when we come back that we will conclude. And happily for me, I know that you also join the groups for the discussions. So the group leaders, please go to the desk for your questions so that we can split into our groups. Let us stand. It is not 45. Is it 5 pages? Yeah. So we will close from the discussions at 5:45. 5:45, so that we have 15 minutes to get to the dining hall. And then after dining, we'll report at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock p.m. for the discussions. Mugwan bao chucha jenasi, yankupone na kron kron, ampo hena sorye ihiadi, yendada musunyinem, o inimnyam onisafu bebu. Mary kron kron asumdwe hima, Mary kron kron asumdwe hima, osre sunsumunya husufu nyina, Ejen oban onisusum kron kron is name.